Empire is set just after a zombie apocalypse is finished. The zombies have destroyed the world. There's very little left. But fortunately, there are survivors. And our survivors are going to be the ones that rebuild the world, but in doing so, look to create themselves an empire. So what we have are 3 stages for empire. Stage 1 is collecting resources. This is immediately after the zombies have disappeared. This is where we're fighting to put our civilization or our empire in the best starting point by having as many resources as possible. Stage 2, we choose our government. How do we want to govern our society? What kind of rules do we want to follow? And then stage 3, this is where we build our empire. This is where, by the end of our 90 minutes, we will be crowned the greatest empire out of all of the other burgeoning civilizations. So, stage 1, this is where we're collecting resources. As part of your setup instructions, which are outlined in your setup booklet and also the Game Master's instructions, what we have is an area outlined that is our game arena. This is typically about the size of a football field or an athletics field. It's nice to have natural obstacles within this, for example, trees or hedge lines, things that campers can hide behind and also run around. Because what we have in our setup is a number of yellow coin cards that have been distributed. The yellow coin cards you'll see in your kit are just these slips here, which you'll have a number of coins written on. I suggest denominations of between 50 and 150. As well as that, we have sheets of A4 paper which have been spread around as well for the campers to collect. The campers should be wearing flag belts for stage 1, but equally so, we can just use a tagging system to avoid having to take flag belts on and off. The counsellors that are helping the teams as well as the admin staff, they are hunting the campers. So what we have when the game begins is the campers have 15 minutes to collect as many resources as possible for their team. Like I said, the resources are the slips of paper and the A4 sheets of paper. Whenever a camper manages to pick one of these up, their aim is to get it back to their base as quickly as possible without being tagged by a counsellor. To signify that they have some kind of resource on them, what we have them do is hold their arm straight up in the air to show that they have something and they are free to be tagged by a counsellor. When a counsellor does tag them, they must drop whatever they're carrying immediately and go back to their team's base, which is their table, before they can rejoin the game and keep hunting for resources. This stage is to simulate the chaos that has happened with the world getting back on its feet and all the previous boundaries and laws, they've all fallen away. The teams are looking to put themselves in the best possible starting position by having as many resources as possible. So this stage will run for around about 15 minutes or until all the resources have been collected. Stage 1 is great fun. It gets the kids up and running around and it really gets them to begin to love the game straight away. But that being said, Empire works really well as an inside game as well, and for example on a rainy day. So if you don't have the space for stage 1, not a problem. You can give each team a starting pack with a number of sheets of paper and a designated number of coins as well to get them going. So stage 2 follows immediately on from stage 1. We've collected our resources and now we're ready to start building an empire. Before we can, however, we need to choose what style of governance we want to rule our empire with. The teams have 3 different options. There is autocracy, technology, and equality. Each one has different advantages, but also has different drawbacks that will come into play throughout the game. As such, the teams should take around about 10 minutes to really discuss what kind of strategy they want to use for the game and which of the governance styles will best fit that strategy. As well as choosing their governance style in stage 2, the teams also have to come up with what are they going to name their new empire. Once they've come up with their name and they've chosen their governance style, they need to declare this at the bank and as well as this to the game master. Once all the teams have done this, we are ready to start stage 3. We're now at the point where we have collected our resources, we've chosen our style of governance, and we've named our empire. Stage 3 is where we build the empire. Stage 3 runs with a 90-minute time limit. At the end of these 90 minutes, the team that has raised the most money will be declared the greatest empire. There's a number of different ways for the teams to raise money, but by far the simplest is by selling shapes to the bank. The teams collected sheets of A4 paper in stage 1, and as well as that, as part of their starter kit, they have scissors, a pen, and 3 original templates. They can draw around these templates, cut them out, and sell each one of the shapes to the bank, and the bank will give them a yellow coin card with the value of that shape back to it. The team with the most coins at the end of the 90 minutes will be declared the winner. The original 3 templates are just the start though. Depending on the style of governance they choose, they'll be given access to new shapes which are more complicated. For example, the first shape that they will then gain access to is the bow tie shape, which is worth 500 coins. The shapes that they sell to the bank are the easiest way to make money. All they have to be doing is cutting out shapes, sell them to the bank. The bank also acts as a store where they can buy new pens, more scissors, more paper, and even additional templates for shapes that they've already discovered. So this is the most streamlined version for the teams to earn money throughout the 90-minute time limit. The second easiest method is by taking advantage of the stock market. As part of the game pack, you will have a USB stick which has the presentation for the stock market on it. To begin with, there are 8 different companies that all have a value between 0 and 2. The value of these companies changes every 2 minutes. The teams can invest in any company they wish and hope that the value of the company goes up and they can then sell their shares for more than they were originally worth. So for example, if a team decides to invest 1,000 coins in Awesome Airlines, Awesome Airlines has a value of 1. So in return for their 1,000 coins, they'll get 1,000 shares. They can hold on to these for as long as they want. At any point they can sell them. So they've now waited and the value of Awesome Airlines has gone up to 1.5. They can now sell their 1,000 shares for 1.5 each, and in return they get 1,500 coins back. A pretty good deal. The downside is they don't always know if the shares will go up or down, but they do get a hint. Every 15 minutes we give out a newspaper. The newspapers have all kinds of fun stories, but they also give away hints as to how a company might perform in the immediate future. So there we have the 2 easiest methods for making money in Empire. We're producing shapes and we're selling them to the bank, and we're investing in the stock market. This is all the teams need to do in order to make money, but there are ways that they can enhance the amount of money they make. The most obvious which is the education rounds. As part of a great empire, you want to invest in your education system, and by having educated individuals within your empire, you should expect to do well. So again, every 15 minutes, we are given an education test. Each of these has a different topic. We have a memory test, we have trivia, maths, as well as that as fun riddles. The tests all have a different pass mark depending on the type of governance style that you have chosen. With technology being the lowest pass mark, they have the best education, and autocracy having the highest pass mark. You do not have to sit the education rounds. If you want to focus on your production or on the stock market, it's completely optional. You do, however, gain... All the teams have the opportunity throughout the game to invest in their education system. Every 15 minutes, they will be given a new education round. Each one of these tests follows a different theme, which are memory, trivia, maths, and riddles. For every test that they pass, every shape that they sell to the bank after that point will be worth an additional 50 coins. So for example, for a circle is worth 150 coins. If a team were to pass 4 education tests, then that circle would then be worth 350 coins every time they sold one to the bank. So there's quite a significant upside in taking part in these education rounds, particularly if you pass. They are optional, however. If a team feels that their time would be better spent focusing on reading the newspapers, investing in the stock market, or just producing more shapes, then there is no penalty for not taking part in the education rounds. But like I said, there's quite a substantial reward for completing these education tests. So we've now covered how the teams make their money and build their empires. They can sell shapes to the bank, enhancing how much each one of these is worth by completing the education rounds, and they can invest in the stock market. The next facet of the game to consider are the special events. There are 4 of these in total. Each one will challenge the teams differently. We discover a gold mine, we find an oil well, we have a plague which sweeps the nation, and we also must deal with civil unrest. Each one of the special events has a complete description given in the special events folder. They happen at different points throughout the game, and like I said, they bring a new challenge to the teams. You do not, however, have to run with all 4 of them. The events do bring an extra challenge towards the teams, so if you're playing with an older or more advanced group, then I definitely recommend playing with all 4 of them. With younger groups, you can get away with less special events. It completely depends on the level that you're playing with. But like I said, they really do add a lot of value to the teams in coping with a different dynamic which the events can bring. So there we have it. That is Empire. We have 90 minutes to earn as much money as possible, dealing with all of the different struggles, challenges, and opportunities that arise along the way. Like I said, Empire can come across as appearing quite complicated, but in its simplest form, the teams are cutting out shapes and selling them to the bank, as well as investing in the stock market. Couldn't be more simple. But what happens is the teams are really tested with the number of events that are happening at a similar time. How do they split their time? How do they split their strengths? What can they do to really get the most out of all of the individuals of their team? And that is where the benefit from Empire comes. The next steps now are to completely go through the Game Master's instructions. Everything that I've described is covered in more detail in there. Everything that you would need to know in terms of how to set up the game, how to run the game, and also extra challenges and extra opportunities that you can build into the gameplay are all included in there. When it comes to the first running of the game, I'd recommend making sure that the counsellors who take part as part of the camper teams also have a firm understanding of the game. With their knowledge, it helps to keep the teams on track for the first time, whereas in subsequent games, the teams already know how best to make advantage of the different ideas and really get to grips with the game. So you're now ready to go through Empire and run it completely in your own fashion. I'm sure you'll have a great time, and I'm sure the kids will get a huge amount of enjoyment from it. Thank you for watching the video. If you do have any more questions about how to run Empire, then please get in touch at any point.